Are you thinking about a move to the Silver Coast of Portugal, but you're wondering where to live, how much you'll pay, or how to avoid the common pitfalls of renting in a foreign country? The good news is you're not alone. Many people are planning a move to Portugal but feel overwhelmed by the unknowns. In this video, we're sharing 10 different properties in 5 different price points from $1,000 a month all the way to the top end of the market here on the Silver Coast to show you what your budget will really get you here in Portugal.
Hi, I'm Matt.
And I'm Dawn.
And we're the Unretirees. And last year we decided not to take the traditional path to retirement, but instead to live abroad and to work remotely. And that's exactly what we do from the Silver Coast of Portugal. And this channel is about living abroad, flexible income streams, and travel over 50. If this is the sort of content that you like, we'd encourage you to like this video, subscribe to this channel, and click the bell so that you are notified of any new videos.
If you're thinking about a move to Portugal, here's a couple ways that we can help. You can book a one-on-one consultation call with us, or you could sign up for the wait list for our Moving to Portugal course. We're going to be releasing that here in the next few weeks. I'll leave links to both of those in the description below.
So first of all, we're not real estate agents, so this is just for information purposes only. But let's define what the Silver Coast is. It is a stretch that is really right up next to the western edge of Portugal that runs from just north of Lisbon to just south of Porto. It's about a 150-mile stretch that's right up against the coast.
Now on the Silver Coast, you're typically going to find 2 different types of properties. Now this is true whether you're renting or buying, but there's either a more traditional Portuguese style home or a more modern home. Now, a more traditional style Portuguese home is something that is going to be probably a little bit larger rooms. There's going to be wood cabinets and probably some more traditional style Portuguese tile.
A more modern home, of course, in this area is going to have more modern kitchens and modern finishes and, bigger windows and probably be a little bit brighter.
So as I mentioned, you'll typically find one or the other here on the Silver Coast, either traditional or more modern. Now, in some cases, you'll have a traditional home that has been renovated to look like a modern home. That's what we ended up buying here in Portugal. But if you are coming to the Silver Coast and you sort of have an expectation of a more European style, maybe floor to ceiling windows, lots of architectural detail, you're not really going to find that here on the Silver Coast. It's extremely rare. You will find that in Lisbon or Porto, but here on the Silver Coast, it's really, I would say, 90–95% of the houses are either this modern style or this more traditional Portuguese style.
Here's what you're going to find on the Silver Coast. You're going to find really incredible real estate values. You're going to find weather that for us is fantastic. Endless coastline. I mean, miles and miles and miles of really beautiful coastline here. And the reality is it's much less crowded than Lisbon or Porto, and so it just feels so much less congested and so much more free.
Now, one thing about all homes here on the Silver Coast is that in the kitchens and bathrooms, you're going to have floor to ceiling tile. And the reason for that is that there is moisture here on the Silver Coast, and having floor to ceiling tile in the kitchens and baths helps homes to be more moisture resistant. This is something you're going to find in both traditional and modern style homes.
So the differences in prices of real estate or renting really has to do with location, has to do with the size of the space, has to do with the condition of the property, it has to do with amenities, which are sort of the things that are true regardless of where you're buying or looking at renting real estate. One of the other things you're going to need to look for is the energy rating in the home or the real estate that you're looking at. So the energy rating is an efficiency rating, and it's important because electricity costs are expensive here. But the buildings are just made of different materials than probably what you're used to, and certainly what we were used to in the United States. They're built out of concrete or terracotta bricks or stone. There's not a whole lot of insulation that takes place, and perhaps very little or zero insulation that's taking place. And so oftentimes homes can feel cold, almost as cold inside as the outside temperature is in the winter. And so the energy rating, that efficiency rating, is an important thing to look at because that will impact the cost of heating your home.
And also, if you're looking at rentals, it's important to factor whether or not your utilities are going to be included. So just to give you a point of reference, we have a 3-bedroom upstairs that we rent out, and in the winter, heating costs can be 300 euros a month or more. Now, the good news is that that's typically typically only part of the year that we're having to pay that. And also we don't need any AC in the summertime, so it kind of averages out over the year. But this is something just to keep in mind if you're looking at rental prices as you're budgeting a move to Portugal. So now let's look at some properties. And by the way, we're pulling these properties off of Idealista. So the first price point that we're going to look at is €1,000 per month. Now that is not the absolute rock bottom here on the Silver Coast. You can find hundreds of homes that are actually priced even lower, but this is going to be a nice size home, typically close to the beach.
So this first property is in San Martino de Porto, and this is actually not a very bad deal. I mean, it's a one-bedroom flat. It is relatively modern, as you can see here. San Martino de Porto, it's right on the coast. They've got a nice little coved beach area and hiking areas that are nearby, restaurants that run along the coast. This is a nice little spot, and it appears that you can walk to the beach from it. So San Martino de Porto is just a little bit south of Nazaré, which, you know, they both have a great beach vibe. Nazaré gets a little more crowded in the summer than it would in San Martino de Porto, but actually they both get a little bit crowded in the summer. So this next one we're going to look at is right here in Nazaré, and this is in the lower village of Nazaré, which is just steps from Praia de Nazaré, the main beach here in Nazaré. You can see that this is a two-bedroom flat. It's a lovely little place.
Yeah.
It's got a little more traditional vibe than the one that we just looked at in San Martino de Porto, but you know, if you want to be near the beach, if you want to have a couple of bedrooms, this is really an interesting option.
And speaking of vibe, I couldn't resist throwing this one in just because it's so unusual. This is an old windmill that has been modernized a bit. This is also in San Martino de Porto, not super close to the beach, but I just wanted to show this one too. We don't see things as unique as this very often. So if you are someone who likes something that's a little bit more unique, definitely grab it when you see it because they go very quickly. But this is charming. But which one would you choose of these three?
Honestly, I think that the mill one is very interesting. Now,
Yeah.
I do think it's a decorator's nightmare. The living room is all around, right? So there's no corners, and so that may make it a little bit of a difficult thing just to sort of figure out where to put things. But I like the idea of the uniqueness of that spot. Even though it would be a short drive to the beach as opposed to a walk to the beach, that one is interesting to me. How about you?
Well, I think that one would be great if you were planning to rent short term while you looked for a home. I think long term it might get a little bit impractical. I like the San Martino de Porto, the first one that we looked at. And the reason for that is that knowing that area, that is an outdoor lifestyle. It is a little bit smaller, but you're not really spending as much time indoors if you live there. You're out on the beach, you're walking on the boardwalks, you're taking a coastal hike, maybe you're out on the golf course. I just feel like having such easy access, just steps away from all of that right at your door, I think would be really great, especially for €1,000 a month. I think that's a great lifestyle.
Yeah. Hey, well, let's take a look at the next price point.
Okay.
So now let's move up the price spectrum to around €1,800 per month. And at this price, you're going to get, you know, more space and more bedrooms. You can still be close to the beach, but it's not high enough where you're going to get a lot of amenities that are right part of the property. But this is a nice price point.
And this first one, you actually do get some amenities, which is really nice. This is a 3-bedroom. It's located in Lourinhã. Probably saying that wrong. That is just south of Peniche, and what that means is that it's closer to Lisbon. You're only about 40 minutes from the airport. Now, this is a 2,300 square foot apartment, which is pretty big for an apartment, and it has this fantastic outdoor kitchen. It's an elevator building, and it also has AC. I'm not sure how close this is to the ocean, but this is a really nice place.
It sure is. So the next property we're going to look at this price range is in Bombarral, which is near Lourinhã, but it's set inland just a little bit. Honestly, it's a massive house, right? It's about 3,400 square feet, 4 bedrooms, 4 baths to it. It has a very traditional feel, although you can see in the bedrooms that it seems like they've redone stuff, so that the floors are all brand new there. But still, the rest of the house has a very traditional feel about it. The energy rating is C, which is, you know, it's pretty decent for energy rating. The one thing about this property that would concern me is that we didn't see in the listing that there was air conditioning. In Bombarol, you're set inland just enough where in the summer months it would be very, very hot. At least we would consider it very, very hot, probably north of 85 or 90 degrees a lot of days. And so that would concern us. But if that doesn't bother you, or if you've got an air conditioning answer, that's awesome. But this is the sort of property that you can get for $1,800, 1,800 euros. So out of these two 1,800 euro properties, which one do you like?
Well, the one in Bombarol, the traditional one with that traditional tile, is absolutely stunning. That tile is so beautiful, and there was lots of space. And even with the AC, even though it didn't have AC, the way that homes are constructed here, they do tend to stay cooler. I don't know how hot it would actually get inside. If you live in that area, please tell us in the comments. But I really love that first one in Lourinhã. I love the idea of being a little bit closer to Lisbon. I love that outdoor kitchen, even though the traditional one did have the churrasqueira outside. I just think it would be really easy to lock up and leave. I think the traditional one for us would just be way more square footage than we would ever need or use.
I like the one in Lourinhã as well. I think that the modern style, maybe at least comparing these two, is more my style. But I also think for me, the hugeness of the one in Bombarol was just, I mean, I don't know what we would do, the two of us, what we would do with 3,400 square feet and 4 bedrooms and 4 bathrooms. The Lourinhã one is much smaller and therefore much more for us, I think. But the other thing is, I think we would enjoy just the weather in Lourinhã more than we would the weather in Bombarol. Yeah. I mean, one of the things that attracted us to Nazaré was the fact that the weather is much more moderate in the winter and in the summer than it is if you move inland. And I think that would be true between Lourinhã and Bombarol as well. That it would be a much more moderate climate in Lourinhã, especially in the summer. It would not get nearly as warm as it would in Bombarol. We're not necessarily hot weather people, so you may be, and Bombarol may be perfect for you, or hot weather may be great, and there's lots of it here in Portugal. But for us, I think I'd prefer to be in Lourinhã.
Yeah, we have friends who live in Bombarol and absolutely love it and love that hot weather. It's just, that's why I think these videos are so important, is just to get a sense of what works best for you.
All right, well, which one of these would you choose? Tell us in the comments below. But are you ready to move up to the next level, which is about 2,300 euro a month?
Let's do it.
So here at 2,300 euros a month, you may get more amenities than you would at the lower price levels. You may have a private pool, you may have some other things that are part of it. The houses are going to tend to be either more remodeled or more modern in their nature, and so I think let's take a look at some of these.
Absolutely. So the first one is, we're headed back to Lourinhã, and this is a 3-bedroom. It's over 2,300 square feet. This one is just 900 meters from the beach. It's got a private pool, and probably my favorite feature about this is it has a B energy rating and a fireplace.
So the next one we're going to look at is in Óbidos, or just west of Óbidos. It's 2,200 euros a month. This is a little bit of a smaller house than the one that you just looked at. It's about 1,700 square feet. It's got a couple of bedrooms. It does have more land. It has a feeling of more privacy. It does have some annexes, so you have some other buildings you can do other things with if you'd like to. I don't know why I did this, the building. They're buildings, they're still buildings, they don't need to do that. You would have to clear all the furniture out of here, but if you cleared all the furniture out of here and started again with how the furniture is arranged, what you have in there, I think this house really has a lot of potential for 2,200 euros a month. One of the other things that's nice is it's very close to the Óbidos Lagoon, which is a really great place for outdoor activities. So Dawn, between these two, which one would you choose?
Well, I love a good outbuilding, and I think you're right. I think there's a lot of potential with that more traditional one in Óbidos, especially in that location, if you removed all that furniture and kind of started over. But that one in Lourinhã, for me, just really has it all. It's close to the beach, there's a private pool, and that B energy rating with a fireplace. That's a luxury here on the Silver Coast.
Yeah, it really is, and that would be the one that I would choose as well. I think the access to the beach is really awesome, and look, I think it's just more our vibe.
Yeah.
So, which of these two would you pick? Why don't you put it in the comments below, and then let's keep going on to the next level.
in just a moment, we're going to show you a couple of homes at the very top of the market here on the Silver Coast. But before we do that, I wanted to throw in this honorable mention. This is a modern home priced at around 3,500 euros per month. Now, I didn't find a traditional Portuguese home that was comparable, but this really has it all. It has, it's brand new, it has a pool, has a little bit of space outside, all new amenities, all new appliances, the whole thing. And so this style of home is very common on the Silver Coast. A lot of them are being built. However, they do tend to go quickly when they're available. So if you like this style of home, if this is your budget and you find something like this, we definitely recommend jumping on it as quickly as possible. So right now, the top of the rental market here on the Silver Coast is about 5,000 euros per month. As we were doing our research, we really only saw one property that went above this. Now, at this price point, you're still going to have a choice between a more traditional or a more modern home, but this is what high-end rentals look like right now on the Silver Coast.
So this first one is, again, just west of Óbidos, and this is a 5,000 euro a month place. It's a 4-bedroom home, over 2,800 square feet, and it's got a yard and it's got a pool. This is full resort living. There's a golf course on site, tennis courts, clubhouse, a gym, even a helipad if you've got a helicopter, I guess. It's got 24-hour security and lots of privacy. Now, one thing to consider for this property is that in addition to rent, the renter is responsible for utilities and landscaping and pool maintenance, so the true cost is going to be higher than 5,000 euros a month. So you can find a lot of houses on the Silver Coast here that are similar, maybe not with the rooftop pool, but this is really— or a helipad, but this is really about lifestyle. It's about living in a resort and meeting people, and and that could be especially important if you were just new to the area. The next one we're going to look at is also west of Óbidos. It's actually a little bit further west and right very much on the coast. You can see from the pictures here. It's a 5-bedroom, 3,500 square foot place. It also has a pool. It's a traditional style home, but you can see that it's been modernized quite a bit, and you are very close to a golf course here. So Don, between these two properties at that 5,000 euro a month level, which one do you like?
I'm not sure either one is for us, but when I see that one that is located in the resort, all I keep thinking about is like a Golden Girls setup, right? You get a bunch of single ladies or single men, golden dudes, I don't know, and they can live together and move to Portugal, live in a place, have the resort, meet lots of people, play tennis, take a helicopter, whatever they want to do. But I think that for us personally, I don't think either of these are quite right. What about you?
Well, I have the Golden Girls theme song going on in my head right now, but I like the second one. It's too big for what we need. I like the second one though because it's connected to what I would say is the better golf course. The golf course that you can see in the pictures that are right behind this house is Praia del Rei golf course. It's one of the top golf courses in Portugal. It is a stunningly beautiful course. It's one that I play regularly. And if I had to pick between these two, I would pick that one, not because of the house, but because of the golf course.
Right. Which is why you pick a house, really.
That's the only reason. That's the most important aspect of location, is how close to the golf course is it.
So that's a whole lot of what we would choose, but we want to hear from you. Which house of these 10 that we mentioned in this video would you be most likely to rent? If you had to choose, like money, no object, you could choose any of these 10, which one do you think that you would choose?
Well, I think I would choose that second Lorena one, to be honest. I think the weather in Lorena would be something that would be, well, first I would choose the house that we're in. I think we love our house in Nazaré. We love being here. We're not looking to move, but I think of the ones that we looked at, I think the second one in Lorena that we looked at would be much more our vibe. I think the location would be something that we would like. Being a little bit closer to Lisbon is also not a bad thing. So how about you? Which one would you pick?
Well, first of all, I'm really surprised you didn't pick a golf course house. But I'm with you. I love that one in Lorena. I think that for where we are in our life stage, that one absolutely has it all. And that B energy rating and the fireplace, I miss having a fireplace, especially when it's colder in winter. But I think that one would really be perfect for us.
So for you, which one would you pick? Why don't you add it in the comments below? And if you're interested in finding out what $200,000 can buy you on the Silver Coast, watch this video.